unimpeded. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, the member for Crowell exhibited high qualities and convinced the committee that she could do a good job as Minister for Gender and Social Protection. And our own Elizabeth Ofusajai, the member for Techiman, a lawyer by profession, a lady, a mother, having convinced us, Mr. Speaker, promising to continue with the 1D1F program subject to the challenges she mentioned at the committee. We pray that the good Lord guides her to ensure that the job opportunities that the NDC promised their Green Army will be realized through the 1D1F programs that we initiated. I wish the nominees well and congratulations. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very, very much. Honorable members, the motion has been moved and it has been seconded. It is now before the House for consideration. As usual, because we want to manage the House well, the caucuses have presented the names of those who will be commenting on the report. So we will move to mention the names for those the caucuses have submitted to the table. So we will begin from the minority side, and we will call on Honorable Member for Empraeso, Honorable Davis Opoku. So, Honorable Member, we will not cut you short, yes, but we have so many other business to conduct today. So please work around 5 minutes for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the report of the Appointments Committee before this House. Mr. Speaker, first let me congratulate my colleagues, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, Madam Namumo, Madam Elizabeth Ofusajai, for their nomination to this high office of the land. Mr. Speaker, particularly I'm excited at the nomination of Mr. Ahmed Ibrahim as the Minister Designate for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. I've been in this House for 4 years, and when it comes to issues that confront members of Parliament, when it comes to issues about MPs and their relations with the District Assembly Common Fund, and to a larger extent, the Local Government Ministry, we have seen Ahmed Ibrahim lead the charge in that regard. And I know that when he settles in that office, issues that bother members of Parliament would be one of the top priorities on his desk as a minister. Mr. Speaker, I'm particularly interested in how we are able to correct the, for want of word, anomaly with respect to the District Assembly's Common Fund Act 455, which establishes the office of the administrator and provides that the administrator reports directly to the minister responsible for local government. However, when you look at Act 936, Section 129 of the Local Government Act, it stipulates that the administrator shall report to Parliament and office of the President. This, in times past, has created some challenges where administrators of Common Fund have had issues with sector ministers. Even as a Parliament, we have struggled at inviting administrators of Common Fund to appear before us, even explain to us issues that are mandatory, issues that concerns members of Parliament. I think that it's about time that the sector minister taking charge takes steps to address this anomaly. It's important that every administrator reports to the minister, sector minister involved, so that the minister would have direct responsibility in responding to issues that border on that fund to Parliament. We would want to be dealing more with the ministers who we appreciate that have a lot of insights. Mr. Speaker, one of the challenges that our municipal chief executives have had, especially with the last government, has been issues of capping. I mean, when you go to them for projects, they tell you that most of their funds have been capped. And it brought untoward challenges in the administration of the district assemblies. Mr. Speaker, I think it's about time that the president assures us, and also the sector minister assures that when he takes office, the issue of capping our district assembly common fund, monies that go directly to the assemblies, will be taken off. They need monies to construct more drains. They need monies to construct more schools. They need monies to develop the various assemblies. And if we are to go by this capping policy, I think we will continue to face challenges in the various assemblies. Mr. Speaker, also, the drip machine is one laudable project that His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, with the support of this Parliament, of the 8th Parliament, brought to bear. I think we need to find ways of putting up policies to ensure that the very reasons why we bought these machines, the very reasons why we procured these machines, we use these machines for that very purpose. And I know that
a stroke victim is healed in Jesus' name.
Attached to the Ministry of Trade, but I felt that it was purely an agric. But when I listened to Madam Ejare, I got convinced that if you look at most of the 1D, 1F projects, most of them are agro-based projections. I mean, most of them are agro-based factories. And to have agribusiness under a watch would go a long way to as it were, address some of the challenges that persons who are engaged in agribusiness face. I mean, we cannot continue to import over $100 million worth of onions into our country. What is required is to develop a proper value chain. And I know that with her at the Ministry of Trade, we are going to do that. For the Gender Ministry, issues of human trafficking is something that is dear to my heart. And I'm praying that the minister focuses on human trafficking issues in this country. In fact, we have a lot of young ladies in our country who are migrating based on false information, especially to the UAEs, and the challenges that they face in these countries is something that is unprintable. I am praying that the minister puts a lot of energy in that sector and addresses issues of human trafficking. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I want to congratulate our colleagues. We are hoping and praying for the best. We are hoping and praying for the betterment of Ghana. I know they will succeed, and I know that when we take over in 2028, we will not meet a ministry that is. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the state. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Opoku. Honorable members, let's turn to a member for Doma West. Is it, am I right? Honorable Vincent Opon Samoa. Is it Doma West?
Yeah, right, sir.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me first commend His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana for the appointments so far to the various ministries. And you can see from the caliber of people that have been appointed that the government means business. Let me first talk about the nominee for local government, Honorable Ahmed. We all know him. He has been here for about the 5th term in Parliament, and he has seen everything. When it comes to parliamentary practice, you can respect him. So I have no doubt that having been appointed to a ministry like local government, he is going to deliver, help the president, reset the country, and then we move it forward. As a former DC, MC, we all know the importance and the important role Ministry of Local Government plays. If government will function at the local level, we need proper supervision. And we need someone like Honorable Ahmed who will be able to match up to the task, keep the DCs in line so that they can deliver at the grassroots. I remember His Excellency, the former President, Nana Addo. He made promise to Ghanaians that Accra was going to be the cleanest city in Africa. And I also recall the last State of Nation address, when he was even recounting his achievements, he forgot to even mention that Accra has become the cleanest city in Africa. When we drive, while you are in Accra, you drive through various streets in Accra, I ask myself, if we have even authority, let me say the AMA or other municipal authorities in Accra, sanitation is at the lowest, and even lightning system on our streets. We all know that street light belongs to the local government. Yet, you drive through Accra and you ask yourself, roads are so weedy, very unkept, and I believe in this young man that having assumed this office, let's see the changes. And I know my brothers on the other side will see the changes. Within a very short period, you'll see the changes in Accra. We'll have street lights, we'll have clean city, and Ghanaians, it's not about we have spent so much. It's not about we have spent so much, but it will be about the real tangible. People will feel it.
Honorable Vincent, hold on. Let me catch the attention of Honorable Member for Asante Achem Central.
Mr. Speaker, let me remind my honorable brother of Order 93.5. It's not supposed to, in making comment, it's not supposed to provoke debate. All the statements he's making, I or other people may not agree with him, and this would provoke debate. So I caution him to be straightforward in commenting on the motion on the floor rather than inviting others to enter into debate. I will not comment on the exact thing that he said, but don't provoke debate. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. Honorable Leader, let's take it lightly. I mean, for me, it's okay. Let's move smoothly. Leader.
Thank you very much.
Mr. First Deputy Speaker, you have moved your motion. Allow us to. Yes, Leader.
So, Speaker, I just wanted to draw the attention of my colleague that Order 93.5 does not come to his aid in this matter. So Order 93.5 is about statements and commentary on statements, just for the education of colleagues in the chamber.
Well. But that notwithstanding, honorable members, let's try not to degenerate the House into an arena that will make things a bit difficult. I mean, we are commenting, so let's do that gently so that we can do our best to approve our brothers and sisters who are going to help the president to govern the country. So, Honorable Vincent, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Speaker, with respect, the majority leader is right. However, Speaker, these are our own colleagues. The Honorable Ahmed is seated right before us. I see my friend, beautiful sister, and other colleagues. They've all performed. I witnessed that performed creditably well. But as my senior colleague tried, we're just trying to help you navigate properly. We want to pass them, but please be guided. If you start throwing punches, we also start throwing punches. No, don't start punches. Speak to the issues. Let's edify them. We can raise the issues, but the tangent you want to take, please, don't tempt us.
Well, like I said, I mean, so Honorable Vincent Asamoah, just take you and let's have this session very smooth.
You know me.
Yes.
You know me.
Very well.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A whole ministry was created by Nanado's administration for sanitation. And that puts emphasis on the importance your government put on sanitation. And I'm particularly very much concerned about the issue of sanitation. That is why I commend Honorable Ahmed some of the answers that he gave.
Honorable Samuel, hold on. Yes, chairman of the committee.
Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me the opportunity. The Speaker, I still maintain the point that the Ninth Parliament has a lot of fresh members. When a report of a committee is being debated, your contribution must be based on the reports. So I will urge the House to take that into consideration in the debate. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well. So please, let's speak to the report. Vincent, let's speak to the report. I mean, let's cut away insinuation and innuendos. I mean, just speak to the report.
We all know that His Excellency, the President, we used to have Minister of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. Now that ministry is also merged with the local government. I was particularly very much impressed when question was posted on that ministry, especially issues on chieftaincy and the manner that he handled it. I was very much impressed. And I know that under his leadership, issues on chieftaincy, issues in Ghana is going to go down drastically. We all know that areas where we have these tribal clashes also hamper development. So I have so much confidence in Honorable Ahmed that once he assumed duty as the Minister for Local Government, most of the issues that Ghanaians, issues of sanitation and issues on chieftaincy, we are going to nip it in the bud. So on these few words, and looking at the reaction from the minority, I'll conclude and then recommend that our new minister should be approved.
Thank you very much.
To start a reset agenda.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much. Let me turn to Honorable Kofi Mafo, a member for Achiase.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to commend our able colleagues who have been nominated and vetted. I will start with Honorable Ahmed, who is my neighbor. For me, what I would say is that local government is a challenging ministry, especially we coming from the rural constituencies. We rely solely on government funds. So the expectation is that because the secretary payment. We expect that the payment should go as soon as possible. And I know he will do that because as a leader, he was working closely with the local government ministry. And so we know that he's going to do a good job. And I will also want to congratulate my own Honorable Elizabeth Ejari. As a trade minister, I will want to urge her that what we are experiencing at the port is not one-man business or one ministry business. It is for trade, transport, and finance. But trade because she's the one going to deal with the business community. And they are the people suffering, especially when it comes to shipping lines. Their charges are so much. Now, 40-footer container, if you are taking a 40-footer container, it's over 15,000 for the shipping line. Meanwhile, the handlers, who are the ones going to do major work, are taking about 4,000 Ghana cedis. So I'll urge her to take a critical look at what is happening at the port, whether it is export or import. It is within her purview, so she will be looking at it critically. Then talking about the 1D, 1F, she was complaining about capacity building, and she was talking about funding. So I will urge her to take a critical look at the exemption process, because if about 400 million and over can be given to MPS for them as an exemption for their work doing at the port, I think other institutions or manufacturers who are also going to deal with our export promotion and employment scale, they also need to be considered. So with these few words, I'll urge our own colleague, our own sister, to take a critical look at it. And then my last one is about these business regulatory reforms, which is under her ministry. They are in charge of making sure that businesses thrive. And the regulatory reforms are very important for our business community. They have brought a bill to Parliament, and I'll urge her to take a good look at it and then make sure that our business community get the facilitation in terms of regulations, in terms of permits and other issues that border the business. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate all of them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kofi. Honorable members, let's turn to Honorable Kwame Asare-Obeng. Honorable Kwame Asare-Obeng.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to first of all congratulate Honorable Ifa, Honorable Ahmed for his nomination. The leadership informed me that I have to comment on Honorable not yet. So I would ask Mr. Speaker, the information that I had was that I have to comment on a different appointment, and so I will ask if it's possible to be corrected. Yes, I do, but my information that I have, and that is what I'm dealing with.
The report we have to comment is not yet ready. Is that what you want to
Yes, Mr. Speaker. No, relax. You are not, relax. Mr. Speaker, I'm dealing with my whip, and she gave me an information, and that is what I'm working on. Sit down, relax.
Well.
Relax.
Well.
Yes.
So So let me call the next person.
Yes,
so
thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. So on that note, let's turn to Honorable Maxwell Lukuto. Maxwell, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful for the opportunity to make a comment on our honorable nominees who will soon be ministers of state. I actually sat in the meeting where our colleagues were vetted, and per the depth of knowledge they have on the subject matter and the ministries they are going to, I have no doubt that they're going to perform. On our Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, the local government ministry, I believe, is a heartbeat of all of us as players in the democratic space, and most especially for us members of parliament. Critical for us because these are the people we're going to be dealing with on daily basis whilst we are within our constituencies or out of the constituency performing national duty in the big House of Parliament. Seniors have commented on the challenges they have had with some district chief executives in the past when they want to access their common fund and other funds that go through them. You will face it more this time, maybe. And so we wish that he would consider the plight of all members of parliament. Even though these funds are through us, they are supposed to help alleviate poverty in our different constituencies. And so he's answered questions eloquently on how he intends to run all district assemblies together with their D and MCEs to the benefit of the whole of the nation. It is my hope that he will be in line to be able to help us achieve our aim as MPs whilst away, so that whilst here you don't have people down there who are looking to cut your leg. And also when you are in the opposition, they will also be there and stifling your common fund, not allowing you to have access to them. For our dear lady Namumu, she was so composed, answers the questions very eloquently, and I believe that she will do well in the ministry that has been so assigned to her. We believe that all these ministers of state would listen to the plight of their people and do just what we demand of them, so that the reset agenda that Ghana has signed for, I mean Ghana, not just NDC, because of the overwhelming endorsement that we have had as a government, it is a testament to the fact that Ghanaians want to see reset. And the reset agenda, I believe, is beginning from this house. And so it is our hope that together they will do a good job. Mrs. Elizabeth Ejare Ofosu, eloquent, a lawyer, done so well in the past as a deputy minister, now promoted to the position of a substantive minister. Sorry, she was a minister and also another minister now. It is our hope and prayer that she will do better than she did in the Mahama I government. And then the reset agenda and the 24-hour economy that we have so yearned for as Ghanaians will come to pass. With these few words, I wish to congratulate them once again and pray that God guides their step very well for the reset agenda. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Maxwell. Let him now turn to the former Finance Minister, Honorable Dr. Amin Anda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me first of all congratulate our colleagues for their nomination by the President for the various roles they are being assigned to. Particularly for my friend here, Ahmed Ibrahim. If Ahmed Ibrahim is to bring the dexterity which he brought to his work as deputy minority leader, minority whip, then, Mr. Speaker, I have no doubt that he is going to live up to expectation. He tormented us a lot, and I believe he will bring that kind of character, the skill, to ensure that DCEs do their work very well in their districts and jurisdiction. But, Mr. Speaker, one issue I like to draw attention to is the difficulty in financing projects at the district level. Because the common fund allocation is no longer enough, and I doubt if it will be ever enough to finance district level development projects. And this is why the minister is being encouraged, and I'd like to encourage you to consider relaying the municipal finance bill, which tends to support district assemblies to look at alternative ways of financing their projects rather than relying all the time on the government for resources to finance development projects, particularly in the area of public-private partnerships. They can leverage private capital out there to finance projects that can pay for themselves. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to encourage him to relay the municipal finance bill. Property rate is another area of interest. There's huge potential in using property rate to finance development at the district level. But as a country, we really haven't found solution to maximizing the collection of property rate. The Ministry of Finance tried. We implemented a system that could energize the mechanisms of collecting property rate. Unfortunately, we face some challenges. I hope that you will look at the policy, you will look at the systems we're implementing, and you will work hard to address the challenges associated with property rate collection and ensure that we leverage that potential for complementing public finances of projects at the district level. Mr. Speaker, it's also important to note, and this is an observation I would like to make, that in presenting the formula for common fund by the common fund administrator, it is important to consult widely, particularly with the Ministry of Finance. I cannot remember the Ministry of Finance making inputs to the formula that was presented last year to this House. And this does not help because it is important for the two ministers to sit down and prioritize the areas that the budget can accommodate and what common fund can also accommodate. So we avoid duplication of allocating resources for similar projects or same projects across the country. So, Minister, I know that you have so much experience in this area, and I have no doubt that this will really get your serious attention to ensure that the right institutions make appropriate inputs to the formula before it is presented to Parliament. Now, the practice of spending on behalf of assemblies is an old age practice. When I was mayor of Tamale, it was there, it's been there up till to date. This deprives the assemblies of critical resources to implement their budgets. The law that established the assemblies also requires them to have budgets approved by the assemblies. Now, what sense does it make if an assembly makes a budget approved by the assembly and yet the revenue expected doesn't come in for the assemblies to execute this budget? This is very problematic, Mr. Speaker. And this is why most assemblies are living from hand to mouth, unable to execute critical projects that they have promised their people in their localities. And so, Mr. Speaker, I do not know what mechanism the minister will use when approved. But it is critical that we stop the practice of the common fund spending and contracting suppliers and paying suppliers on behalf of assemblies. That is not, for me, an efficient way of spending the common fund money. Also because it does not address the priorities of the various assemblies. Mr. Speaker, for Honorable Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, one of the key measures that you need to pay attention to is the ease of doing business. We are at a critical stage where we have to be able to attract as much investment as possible to support us grow the economy. And the ease of doing business is monitored seriously by investors across the world. And you need to pay serious attention to that, particularly in addressing some of the challenges that the report brings out. The Tema Port, the harbor, is one area that has been highlighted in many of the reports on ease of doing business in Ghana. In trying to address this problem, I face a lot of resistance. There are so many stops at the port, so many stops. And therefore, you need to be able to reduce the number of stops importers go through or even exporters go through in order to establish a one-stop solution that will make the ease of importing and exporting real. This is so important because the business community, as you engage them, will tell you more about that. But we face serious challenges. No institution wanted to give up. And I hope you'll be guided by this in helping to address that problem at the port so that we can attract more businesses into our country. My last point, Mr. Speaker, is on agribusiness, particularly in relation to horticulture. We can create a lot of business around horticulture. And I've been looking at the situation where the White Volta can be declared the horticultural belt of Ghana, so that the water flowing through the White Volta can be used to irrigate horticultural farming, vegetables, like onions, etc., which we can trade in Ghana, but also for export. What is critical about this also is that the White Volta is closer to the Tamale Airport, and the Tamale Airport is within 2 hours to about 5 countries around the country. And so, if we do this, Ghana will become a major exporter of horticulture. And that, I believe, will bring a lot of meaning to adding agribusiness to the Trade and Industry Ministry. Because I see a lot of coordination, or complementarities. And I hope that you will take this very seriously. We'll put fire at your feet so that you can do this for the benefit of our country. So I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. I believe you all understand why I gave him some time. We realized he was giving very good at. So, come again. So now we will turn to Honorable Faustina Eliklim Akulugu. Yes, Honorable, you have the floor now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to contribute to the report by the Appointments Committee of the nominations of Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, Honorable Agnes Namumu Lati, Honorable Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, for the Ministries of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Gender, Children and Social Protection, and Trade, Industry and Agribusiness, respectively. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, these appointments by His Excellency the President are more than enough testimony of his commitment to resetting Ghana. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim has been a ranking member of the Local Government Committee of the House. At his vetting, he demonstrated a considerable understanding of local government issues in the country. We are confident that his appointment will support His Excellency, the President's vision to deepen decentralization and also enhance revered institution of chieftaincy in our country. Mr. Speaker, we also believe that as a former whip of this House, the Honorable Ahmed I am not reading. Mr. Speaker, we also believe that as a former whip of this House, the Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim will instill discipline in the yet to be appointed chief executives of our various Metropolitan Municipal Assembly, and more importantly, get him aligned with the vision of the President and members of Parliament. I must also add that personally, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim has been a great help to me. I've had to rely on his advice and support a number of times to win the mighty Domi-Kwabenya constituency.
Hey. Read on.
Finally, Mr. Speaker,
Read on.
appointments of Honorable Agnes Namumu and Honorable Elizabeth Ofosu Ajari is a committed another bold statement that His Excellency, the President, respects women and he's committed ensuring that gender balance in his government in line with the Affirmative Action Bill. As a woman, I am particularly proud of the appointments, and I strongly believe they will make us proud. Mr. Speaker, I am grateful for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So let's turn to Honorable Tampuli. Honorable Hassan Tampuli, you have the floor now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the opportunity to contribute to this report, consideration of the House for the approval of the Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, Minister for Local Governments, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, the Honorable Mrs. Namumu Lati as Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, as well as my sister, Honorable Elizabeth Ofosu Ejari, Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. Mr. Speaker, I want to join colleagues to extend hearty congratulations to these colleagues who have caught the eye of His Excellency, the President of the Republic, to serve in his governments. Mr. Speaker, right at the outset, I need to signify to these colleagues that by what I have observed in the previous administration of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, reshuffle is something that he likes a lot. So please, when you go, you have to work very, very fast and actualize your vision before maybe you are reshuffled to another place. And so, Mr. Speaker, this is just a little portion to colleagues. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, a lot has been said about him. Very sharp, gentlemen. Mr. Speaker, looking through the reports, I noticed that the three of them are almost about the same age. They are almost about the same age, 50, 52, and I believe very strongly that with what I heard this morning about the average age of the nominees for ministerial positions, I believe that we have one of the youngest governments in the history, the oldest being about 61 or so. So your collective energies would have to show. Your collective energies will have to show. You have to give justification for why government should be made available to the younger generation. So you are doing this not for yourself, but also to give justification for opportunities that will be given to the future generation. I wish you well in the work that you do. Mr. Speaker, on page 6 of the report, the nominee made reference to some misalignments between the reporting structure of the administrator of the Judicial Assembly Command Fund. And I think that it's important that this is rectified so that the malady doesn't continue to fester and then create enough confusion as it is doing right now. But as far as I'm concerned, Mr. Speaker, the legal maxim that the general laws shall take precedence over specific laws, specific laws shall take precedence over general laws, would convince me that generalibus non derogat specialibus. That is correct. That's the Latin maxim. Mr. Speaker, I would insist that the District Assembly Common Fund Act 1993, Act 455, which establishes that the Common Fund Administrator should report to the Minister for Local Government, is the one that should be adhered to. Yes, Mr. Speaker, there will be some challenges as far as canons of interpretations are concerned, that you might say that the later legislation will take precedence over former legislations. So that argument can also be made, but I would insist that once it is a special legislation, I would insist that the District Assembly Common Fund Administration should report to the Minister for Local Government for the proper alignment of the function of the local government administration. Mr. Speaker, on point 4.3 of the report, improving the local economy in collaboration with the MMDCs, there's no doubt about the goodness of the spending power of the assembly, what it does to the local economy. I mean, the cascading effects is unimaginable. When everything is done from Accra, contracts are awarded in Accra, procurements are taken from Accra. Sometimes the members of parliament, and I believe some of us have experienced it one way or the other. You'll be sitting in the chamber, and then somebody moves to site. It's even sometimes the case that even the MMDCs do not even know where these contractors are coming from. The next thing you find somebody, on the ground executing the contract. So, Mr. Speaker, I would urge on my colleague, the Honorable Ahmed, to take a very critical look at that issue and then deal with it. Mr. Speaker, I notice also that the ministry is quite a behemoth right now. Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Judicial Committee of the House of Chiefs, and so on and so forth. So they are going to be superintending a huge space that previously was occupied by, I think, 2 or 3 ministers. But there was a minister for Water Resources and Sanitation, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, and then local governments. Now you are going to carry almost 2.5 ministries. And I don't know how you are going to do it, but based on what we have seen you do in this house, your diligence, your ability to think on your feet and so on and so forth, I believe that you'll be able to discharge this duty with gusto. And I wish you well, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim. The Speaker, Honorable Agnes Namomolati, Doctor, the Minister for Gender. Mr. Speaker, That ministry is one of the youngest. Now, if I remember correctly, the former minister and member of Parliament for Takrady, Gladys Asma, is the one that birthed that ministry in 2001. And I believe there's a great deal that can be done about that ministry. I'm not too sure. I may be corrected, Mr. Speaker. But if I remember correctly, Gladys Asma was in recent years the first minister for gender. So it's a work in progress. There's a great deal that can be done at that ministry. And I believe that you will give effect to the Women Development Bank. Mr. Speaker, after the election, a woman told me that she was waiting for the Women Development Bank to be. I said that's why she didn't vote for me. And so, Mr. Speaker, I'm also, waiting patiently for that ministry to settle so that I can send my women organizer to go and see if she gets some loan from the facility. So, Honorable Member for Provo, I wish you well. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Elizabeth Ofosu Ejari, I serve with her on the Appointments Committee. Very diligent. I don't know whether it is parliamentary, but she is a gentle assassin. Her questions are slow in coming, but they are piercing and biting. And then she will punch you where you least expect. And she will just, Mr. Speaker, I don't have much to say. But when the questions come, Mr. Speaker, you will shake small before you are able to answer the question. A senior at the bar as well. And I greatly appreciate that she is more than capable of discharging the obligation of that ministry. Mr. Speaker, there is a little bit about the cross-border trade that I read from the report on page 28. And it says, with your permission, Mr. Speaker, it says, according to the nominee, when the tax system is attractive, so she proposed imposition of a reasonable and fair tax system. And according to the nominee, when the tax system is attractive, non-exorbitant and reasonable, people are more willing to pay. Mr. Speaker, if I refer to President Mahama's first 100-day social contracts, bullet number 6, Mr. Speaker, if you permit me to just read in quotes. Within my first 90 days in office, review taxes and levies on vehicles and equipment imported into the country for industrial and agricultural purposes. Mr. Speaker, currently, if you take the bill of lading at the port, you import the vehicle into the country, you have line items, taxes, levies, margins, and so on and so forth, about 22. And my colleague, Honorable Mafo, made reference to a particular line item, which is the container charges. Averagely, you are paying about 15,000 apart from paying for everything that has to be paid for at source. You pay 15,000 per container. Mr. Speaker, we do not less than 1.2 million containers in a year. Now, when you do the calculation, we're talking about billions of dollars. Mr. Speaker, sometimes when you go to make these payments, the shipping lines insist that you must come with foreign currency. So in addition to paying this exorbitant fee, you are also supposed to go and exchange mostly dollars or euros to go and make these payments. Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure about the legality of this. And so the Shippers Authority Act was passed recently. Mr. Speaker, I'm just winding down. The Shippers Authority Act was passed recently, in which we have insisted that shipping lines can no longer impose such charges on shippers, except what the Ghana Shippers Authority has approved. And I believe that this will be a very, good platform for you to speak to traders and importers and even exporters about the benefits of this new act, so that all these, exorbitant container charges for doing nothing, the Speaker, for doing nothing. So they just sit down and at the click of a button of a computer, you charge somebody 15,000 cedis, you pay for container cleaning when you bring a Brunei Wow.
Thank you.
So Speaker, on this note,
thank you.
I'd like to congratulate my colleagues and then add my voice to the House to confirm these colleagues. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Please, let's turn to Honorable Simon Pabe Chairman. Yes, Honorable Chairman. Is it Brekum?
Yeah, Brekum is the good.
Yes.
Thank you very much, the Speaker, for the opportunity and the latitude to add my voice and to contribute to and to say very big congratulations to the nominees on their call to serve in this high office. Let me start with Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim. Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, 5-term Member of Parliament for the good people of Banda. He has really distinguished himself so well. When you see and assess his intellectual prowess, his tenacity of purpose, when you look at Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, sincerely, and if we will be very forthright, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim is a luminary. His tenacity of purpose, just like I said, and his testicular fortitude in the way a manner he discharges his duty, Mr. Speaker, is admirable. And I have no doubt, I come with very firm conviction that my senior colleague will distinguish himself creditably in the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy, and Rural Development. I strongly believe that my senior colleague will concern himself with the Act 936. I'll remind him later, he doesn't know. The son of a lion doesn't get mixed in the jungle.
Honorable, just focus. Later on, you come to that. All right. Let's focus on.
Mr. Speaker, I want to believe that my senior colleague will concern himself with the Act 936, the structure in particular, the lower level. The Local Government Act, when you look at the structure, most often than not, you realize that the base, which is the unit committee, was the local government, the unit committee, the town and urban councils, the assembly members, just exist in nomenclature, but they are less resourced. When you go to my constituency, looking at Nasi, Kato, Biada Urban Council, you get there and the place is less resourced. And I strongly believe that my senior colleague will concern himself so much by resourcing them. Most often than not, you realize that, Mr. Speaker, they are not even consulted. And it is only at the evaluation stage. But I strongly believe that democracy must be participatory. And once it's for the people must be involved at the grassroots. And I strongly believe that during the problem assessment, through to design of the program and project, through implementation to evaluation stage, the unit committee, the assembly members, and the urban and the town councils will be involved. And I think with that, we can have the full realization. With him, as a royal member, I strongly believe chieftaincy is not an issue. And as an elder of Church of Pentecost, I have no doubt in my mind. As long as religious issues are concerned, we will do justice to that. Then again, on my good sister, Honorable Elizabeth Ofusua Jare.
Honorable, you spend almost all the time on Honorable Ahmed.
I have a lot of confidence in her. And that again, I have a lot of confidence in her. She has distinguished herself so well, so creditably, when she was the Minister for Tourism. And Ghana became a destination or a tourism hub. So I have no doubt in my mind that she will distinguish herself. Likewise, Honorable Namumu, I wish them all well, and I want to congratulate them for the appointment. I wish them well. Thank you so much.
Let me, the last batch, let me call Honorable leadership. You do the. Okay, let me take the last batch. You gave me the list, so let me take the last batch. Let me give Honorable former Minister for Western Region.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I know this is a privilege. Mr. Speaker, I wouldn't have been very well if I had not been given the opportunity to speak. In congratulating my brother, Honorable Ahmed. We've been very good friends. We've traveled together, we've gone to school together, and he's shown courage in this house. I therefore don't have any doubt in my mind that he can get this job done. Mr. Speaker, I know that local government is a very huge portfolio, but local government is local, and that is where people benefit or they become dejected and create problems. Mr. Speaker, if you take some of the answers that my brother had given, one of the biggest one I believe I want to comment had to do with the issue of releases of funds to the Assembly. Mr. Speaker, it is very important for us to understand that the monies are released by the Ministry of Finance. Therefore, the administrator, they only disburse. So not until Finance releases this money, the disbursement will not happen. And I believe that that is where, as Parliament, we should put the emphasis and the pressure. So far, it seems that we'll be leaving that out, and then our assemblies have been suffering for a very long time. I understand that a lot of some of the expenses or the disbursements are done at the center. But usually, a lot of the project too, the assemblies themselves also agree for them to do it. So they cannot also be given excuses for agreements they've done, and the local and the district assembly common fund is disbursed. So I believe that we need to look at this dichotomy and find a way to resolve some of these issues. On the issue of local economy, I believe that is one area I would suggest that we put a lot of emphasis, because if you take the elections that we've gone through and all the difficulties with the economy, if we are able to get things done right in developing the local economies across the length and breadth of the country, I believe that the pressure from the youth for jobs, the pressure for infrastructure development would also go down. On the issue of Madam Ajayi, Minister for Trade, I'm happy that she's gotten that nod, because I saw her work when she was Minister for Tourism, because I followed her a lot. I'm also happy that she's been given this position. But what I want to note is that in most big economies, the minister responsible for the economy is usually the Minister for Trade and Industry, not the Minister for Finance. Because if you take the NDC's own manifesto and the agenda for this election, it's about 24-hour economy, and it's on you. So if we don't give you the opportunity to determine the pace of the economy, not the disbursement at finance, I believe that we might have a lot of difficulty. And I believe that cabinet members and government members should be able to support her to take hold of the economy. And when she's able to take hold of the economy, move it with her, it can then be spread by the local government, and then the people can feel the benefit of the governance that we deliver in the country. Jalo talked about the weak entrepreneurial economy, and I believe that we need to start from secondary schools. Because if Ghanaian children, Ghanaian students, university students are not told right from level 100 that they can do something for yourself after school, but wait to be employed. Mr. Speaker, young people have new ideas, and they are the future of our country. If we don't inculcate in them the ability to be entrepreneurial, we should be creating the jobs for them to be employed. So I believe that that education should also be taken by the Minister for Trade to create that enabling environment and also raise more revenues to support them. With these few words, I know they'll be able to deliver. Let's support them to be made ministers. Ghana. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Last but not the least, Honorable Suleimana Adam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the report on the appointment of 3 ministers of state. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim started from time. When he first came to the House, he represented the good people of time. I was his constituent secretary. So today I'm very happy to see him rise through the ranks to become the Minister for Local Government. Mr. Speaker, if you go through the report, he has served on so many committees, but perhaps the Local Government Committee is the one that his impact was greatly felt. He has gone through the whole country. He is aware of the challenges of this country. So I'm very confident that his practical knowledge about the challenges of the local governance structures will inure to the benefits of the office that he's coming to hold. But Mr. Speaker, perhaps the most profound statement I found during the vetting was the one that he said, Mr. Chairman, I will not allow any MMDC to disrespect members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, the friction between MPs and chief executives is a well-known documented fact, but I'm sure with his knowledge and with his experience, we will scale over this friction. Mr. Speaker, also important to mention was the DRIP, the District Road Improvement Project. He gave firm assurances that management of the DRIP project will improve so that the impact will be felt. Mr. Speaker, perhaps the Roads Minister in the 8th Parliament, you realize the Roads Minister was the most summoned minister on this House. It tells you that the road sector is the most critical when it comes to the developmental issues that we have. So I'm sure with Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim as the local government minister, with proper structure and ownership of the machines, the DRIP project will get to the intended purpose that we envisaged. Mr. Speaker, Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare is a former Minister of State in charge of tourism. He's a lawyer. She is a gender activist. But for me, her appointment demonstrates the commitment of President Mahama to gender equity. Perhaps I agree with the honorable member for the former Western Regional Minister that the most important ministry for the next 4 years of President Mahama is the Ministry for Trade and Industry. It is where the central theme of our campaign, the 24-hour economies. No wonder President Mahama chose Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, a woman of metal, and I'm sure she's going to deliver, just like she did when she was a minister for tourism. Mr. Speaker, President Mahama didn't add there. The EI that established the new ministries added agribusiness to that ministry. It tells you job creation is central, and Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare will be in charge of one of the central teams of this administration. Agnes Namumo Latte, she is my former colleague at the backbench there. She's a very serious woman. She never misses any whip system. Anytime she was needed in the chamber, Namumo is there. She's a gender activist. She has gone through the mill in gender activism. But I was happy with her statement when she said the school feeding program was going to be decentralized, and that the minister's role will be supervision. Mr. Speaker, I am sure that with her knowledge in gender activism and her care for the girl child and the children in general, I'm sure she's going to deliver.
Thank you so much.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Let me now come to leadership. Yes, my knowledge.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to add my voice to this motion on the floor. Mr. Speaker, before I say anything, let me acknowledge the Honorable Simon Ampai being chairman, the Member of Parliament for Brekum East. He demonstrated strength and ability in his short advocacy. And I think that such an early positive start must be commended. No doubt, he's coming from a stock familiar with the front bench business of the House. I mean to say, the former majority leader of this House, an MP for Brekum, Honorable J. Owusu-Acheampong, of blessed memory, I'm told, is related to him. So I'm sure he's done some great works. Proud to come in here. I inquired whether he was a lawyer. I'm told he's here to be called to the bar. So I wish him well in this chamber, and I know he will do great things. The Speaker, having said that, let me remind government that our side is ready to help them to put government together. But they should not shut their eyes to and on the law. We have passed a law in this House. That law makes it mandatory to have a ministry for national security. I refer to Act 1030. We've had so many appointments, but we are yet to hear of minister designate for national security. Only yesterday or so, we got this notice from Mr. President about the Interior Minister designate. Because of certain exigencies, we are ready to vet him tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, we will do our part, but they must also do their part so that we don't create certain impressions. Mr. Speaker, that said, the number of ministers. We are seeing Minister for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs. The political class of this country must be bold and own the political narrative. I will not criticize because I am in opposition. When we make mistakes, let's admit them and apologize. 60 ministers will not help your political cause. But when civil society comes out with the narrative, as if everything is done by the political class, instead of us boldly explaining to them the intricacies of politics, then we also fall for the trap and we make political commitment. I don't doubt the competence of Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, but that huge ministry, local government and chieftaincy, all these conflicts, the behind the scenes, negotiations for peace and local governance. Mr. Speaker, I am not the president, but if I were to advise Mr. President, I would say, Mr. President, you can apologize to Ghanaians and say, look, you underestimated the thing. I think I need to engage more ministers. Because, Mr. Speaker, we cannot allow this. And the civil servant, what people have forgotten is that as you put two ministries together, the staffers are the same. All the civil servants who are there, they remain same. And then you say only one minister to supervise and monitor. Things will soon get out of hand and you take the collateral damage. And then they say there's corruption. So it is your government. We leave that to you. I will not belabor the point. To conclude, I want to say something about the Minister Designate for Trade and Industry and Agribusiness. I am a lawyer by profession and a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur. And practically, I know the benefit of the 1D, 1F. All I want from you, my respected senior colleague at the bar, do all you can to give meaning to this initiative. You may call it another name. I understand politics. But if you don't give relief to the private sector, you aren't going anywhere. All these young men and women chasing us here and there, government support alone will not be enough. You and I know that many of the support we give them, they abuse them. If we energize the private sector to be successful, they would employ these individuals and they would be measured by their output. If we don't do it and we think that, oh, government will do it, government will do it. Look, you know the debt situation. We've been attacking each other. Huge debt, as if it just came out of nothing. It is as a result of the social intervention programs we introduce that when our people benefit, those of economic value do not get returned to the state. So we keep digging a hole. My respected colleague, be bold at cabinet. I know the strength of this majority leader. I know how objective he can be. Let this 9th Parliament be a game changer. That it is this 9th Parliament that through advocacy compelled the government to put in place the support system for the benefit of Ghanaians. For me, it doesn't really matter if Ghanaians want a new government in 2028, it will happen. You can't do anything about it. But at least for your record, let history testify that when you had the opportunity, these were the transformation that you introduced in the governance of the country. Mr. Speaker, without more, I shall rest my case and support the motion that this House approve. This House approves the report of the Appointment Committee as ably moved by this House, by the Chair. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Now, Majority Leadership.
Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to add my voice to the motion presented before us for the adoption of the report ably laid by the chairman of the committee. Mr. Speaker, in doing so, let me make the point forcefully that the Honorable Minority Leader again got the point wrong on this vexed issue of I disagree with him that the insistence that the Act 1030-2020 Security and Intelligence Agency Act actually provides for the establishment of the Ministry of National Security. Because specifically Section 24 only provides for the functions of the minister. And Mr. Speaker, the minister is defined in Section 49 of the law as a minister responsible for national security. So indeed, the president, as he is now, can actually mandate the minister responsible for the interior to be also responsible for national security. That is why, Mr. Speaker, the former president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, he sponsored the bill that led to the birth of Act 1030. He himself, in 2021, when his mandate was renewed for the second term, he didn't establish the Ministry of National Security pursuant to Act 1030. He did so with an EI 12. So, my leader, this matter came up during the vetting of the Attorney General, and we set the law. We set the law. He suggested that in reading the law purposively, but by no stretch of imagination will you interpret the provision in Section 24 to constitute the provision for the establishment of the Ministry of National Security. That prerogative is left for the President to exercise. So, with these words, Mr. Speaker, I join the call that the report be adopted so Ahmed can quickly proceed to deal with matters of state. I thank you for the opportunity.
Mr. Speaker, not to debate, but before you put the question, I want to remind the majority front bench to look behind. There are empty seats. The chief whip should observe all the empty seats and advise us whether in the circumstance we can put a question. They should get their chamber populated. They say they are super majority. They should let their people come. Mr. Speaker, I'm advising them with all these empty seats, we want them to be in so that we'll meet the necessary requirements of law so that we can put the question. We are ready to help you. We are ready. We need to take a decision. Chief Whip, this is baptism, first day baptism. Let us see your first day work. This is not for majority leader. Leader, this one is not for you. Chief Whip, marshal your members in. Let them come in and fill the spaces. Your back is empty. Mr. Speaker, that must be done before we put the question. No, this side is, look, the whole place is empty. The whole place is empty. We told you so.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am minded to make the point that we have the numbers. We have more than one question. So you may put the question, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, at the conclusion of the debate, he has not caught my eye.
No, so tell me. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members. No.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, over the years, particularly in the 8th Parliament, Mr. Speaker, the question of attendance to this House
had become a major issue. And indeed, Mr. Speaker, on several occasions, civil society organizations, the media and the rest have had the occasion to discuss at great length the attendance of members of parliament to the business of the House. Mr. Speaker, we are here this afternoon conducting extremely serious business. Mr. Speaker, we are here as an arm of government to exercise our constitutional mandate in supporting the president to constitute his government. And Mr. Speaker, indeed, we are here to approve 3 very important ministers: the Minister for Local Government, the Minister for Trade and Industry, the Minister for Gender. And Mr. Speaker, let me say that it is refreshing that all 3 of them are here. But the majority benches and seats are empty. Mr. Speaker, empty. Empty. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, on December, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, on December 7th, Mr. Speaker, on December 7th, Mr. Speaker, on December 7th, Ghanaians queued and voted for 275 members of parliament. 183 of them are members of the majority side. They are not here. Just because they are not here. Just because, look at the minority side. They are always happy. They are always happy to erroneously, Mr. Speaker. They are always happy to erroneously refer to us. They are always happy to erroneously refer to us as micro minority. But Mr. Speaker, this minority will be in this house every day and conduct our business and perform our responsibility. Mr. Speaker, that is why I refer you to Order 64. Order 64, Rule 4 of our standing orders. Mr. Speaker, and before I even quote the said order, Mr. Speaker, this minority, Mr. Speaker, and I refer to this the minority of this 9th parliament, the effective minority. And Mr. Speaker, the good book, the Holy Bible, teaches us that a few people under God can conquer a multitude of people. And that is why we are well represented here. Mr. Speaker, I've referred to the order, but indeed, as the venerable distinguished minority that rightly pointed out, some of the people who have been approved today are indeed have been members of this house over a period of time, and we know them quite well in the 8th Parliament. I refer particularly to the Minister of Trade designate, the Minister of Local Government, the 2 of them in particular. Mr. Speaker, we have worked with them in this house, and for their sake, Mr. Speaker, for their sake, we will temper justice with mercy. We will temper justice with mercy. But, Mr. Speaker, before I take my seat, Mr. Speaker, I will waive the application. I will not make the application. And I mean, I will not make the application under Order 64, Rule 4. I will not. But let them bring their people to this house before we take the question, Mr. Speaker. The majority leader should ensure, the majority chief whip, he's one of the people who used to raise these issues. He used to raise this issue in the 8th Parliament. Mr. Speaker, you should fill his seats. I conclude by saying a huge majority, but ineffective majority. A small minority, but effective minority. Let them come for us to conduct business. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, majority leader.
Mr. Speaker,
think we have enjoyed ourselves. It's been a lot of fun. But the good thing is that he has restrained himself from coming under Order 64.
Yes,
so
that
Mr.
one
Speaker,
is.
So, Mr. Speaker, you may put the question.
Yes, Honorable Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, today is the majority leader's first day at work.
Especially the majority whip.
Mr. Speaker, today is the majority leader's first day at work. As the respected member who spoke said, we will temper justice with mercy. We will not visit the sins. We will not visit the sins of the majority chief whip on the majority leader. We will not visit the sins of the majority chief whip on the majority leader. We will therefore yield to his prayer for government business to go on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, honorable members. At the conclusion of the debate, the question is all those in favor that motion listed 10 in today's order paper. All those in favor of that motion, say aye. All those against, say no. Honorable members, it is obvious the ayes have it. The motion is hereby adopted. And that this Honorable House has approved His Excellency's the President nomination of Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim as Minister Designate for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. Honorable Dr. Agnes Na Momolati as Minister Designate for Gender, Children and Social Protection. And Honorable Elizabeth Ofosu Ejare as Minister Designate of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. Honorable members, on behalf of the House, let me extend our congratulations to our colleagues. They are part of us and they are now going to serve as ministers of state. We wish them well. Yes, Honorable First Deputy Speaker.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much for the opportunity to thank the committee and the House on behalf of the nominee for having the confidence to endorse them by consensus, by way of approving them to their various sectors. Right, Honorable Speaker, I am so grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Chairman of the Appointments Committee. Yes, leadership. Yes, leader of government business.
Right, Honorable Speaker, motion number 10.
Yes. Leadership, is that the pressure of the House?
Speaker, that is so.
Very well. Chairman of the Appointment Committee.
Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me the opportunity to move the motion number 10 on today's order paper, particularly at page 3, that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order 1041, which require that a motion shall not be debated until at least 2 sitting days have elapsed after the notice to move the motion is given. The motion for the adoption of the fourth report of the Appointment Committee on His Excellency, the President's nomination for appointment as ministers may be moved today. Right Honorable Speaker, I so move.
Thank you very much. Yes. Honorable Member for Wejabawe and second Deputy Minority Whip.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we second the motion.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, the motion listed 10 has been moved by the chairman, has been seconded by the second Deputy Minority Whip. This is just a procedural motion, and therefore I'll go ahead to put the question. All those in favor of the motion listed 10, say aye. All those against say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Yes, Chairman, let's take the substantive motion 11.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this Honorable House adopt the fourth report of the Appointment Committee on His Excellency, the President's nomination for appointment as minister, and in doing so, I present the committee's report of the appointment, Appointment Committee's report on the nomination of Honorable Ablajifa Gomashi as Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Honorable Emilia Atta as Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, and Mr. George Opare Ado as Minister for Youth Development and Empowerment. The Speaker, I will urge the Hansa Department to capture the report as having been read in its entirety and to state that various questions were posed to the nominees respectively. They provided the answers and all are contained in the report. And Mr. Speaker, I pray that the committee's report be adopted, leading to the approval of the nominees. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for your opportunity.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, the chairman of the Appointment Committee has moved the motion. Yes. Yes, Honorable Member for Bosman Freon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Speaker, I rise to also support the report, to second the report on the approval, support the motion on the approval.
Second the motion.
Yes, yes. Second the motion.
Yes.
Second the motion.
Go on.
In doing so, Mr. Speaker, I want to make some few points. Madam Honorable Abna Jifa Gomashi has been an industry player. Hence, we are all aware of her prowess and competence in this industry. Mr. Speaker, it is very important that we draw her attention and refresh her mind to some very key important things that were achieved or done by the SY government, which needs to be looked at, repeated, and if possible, enhanced. The Speaker, one of them is a year of return, which obviously saw about millions of foreigners coming into the country, raising about 1.9 million to support the economy of this country. The Speaker, after the year of return, we introduced the Beyond the Return, which was also very important and helped largely the tourism industry of this country. The Speaker, I would urge her that now that she is coming into the ministry, some of these things should be encouraged, improved, and if better, resourced, so that Ghana will be seen as one of the areas, destination, like we have December to remember in Ghana. Ghana will be seen as one of the destinations and areas we look at. The Speaker, the report also at paragraph 4.1 mentioned clearly when responding to questions at the vetting, stating and speaking on the deterioration of some tourist sites in Ghana. Speaker, it is very critical when you look at that report. He mentioned clearly that she's also going to develop major tourist sites in this area, and then also support the MMDCs to rehabilitate, raise, and make sure that tourist sites in the areas of these countries and local assemblies are developed. The Speaker, I want to also draw your attention to some major sites, tourist sites that Ghana need to pay attention to. The Speaker, one of them, to mention a few, is Abriwa Waterfalls. It's got Bakote Waterfalls, the Awam Waterfalls, the Bobiem Waterfalls, the Dane Waterfalls, the Amomos Waterfalls, the Tebri Waterfalls, the Subrisu Waterfalls. The Speaker, the Tebesu Waterfalls, just to mention a few, are all waterfalls in the Bosome-Frehon constituency. The Speaker, I'll urge the minister, now that she's going into that the ministry, to support the local assembly to develop these tourist sites, which I believe strongly would improve the tourist ecosystem in this country and also create jobs for people in this constituency, Bosome-Frehon to be specific. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Emilia Atta, Mr. Speaker, I also congratulate her and also say that she has worked well for the NDC and John Dramani Mahama to nominate her. Mr. Speaker, but there is one thing she needs to look at. Mr. Speaker, that is the 14 landing sites that were started and yet to be completed by this government. Mr. Speaker, it is important that we ask her, we urge her, that going into the ministry, those 14 landing sites must not be abandoned. Mr. Speaker, one of the major issues that bedeviled the Eswad administration close about 2 weeks to elections was Galamsey, illegal mining and water body mining. The Speaker, as a minister designate to go for fisheries, it is important that when some of these water bodies are destroyed, it affects fisheries. So she should clearly, carefully look at this area and ensure that, the Speaker, the water bodies are safe and the water bodies are conducive for the fishes to live there. Mr. Speaker, there has been controversy on when the fishing time to be closed, or the closing season and the opening season. Mr. Speaker, it's important that stakeholders are engaged to make sure that our fisher folks enjoy the number of times they are supposed to fish, so that we can also have the benefit of having our. Mr. Speaker, the last one, which is the Minister Designate for Youth Development. Mr. Speaker, the NDC promised so much to the youth of this country. Mr. Speaker, I am urging respected colleague, George Opare Addo, Mr. Speaker, that he promised the NDC youth, he promised the Ghanaian youth, that we are going to eat 3 times or 3 meals a day. Now that he is going into the ministry, Mr. Speaker, that must be ensured. Mr. Speaker, he promised that there is going to be a formula, 1-3-3 formula, where 1 job, 3 people, and 3 positions. Mr. Speaker, he promised, and we are looking forward to seeing that. Mr. Speaker, the NDC promised, and they made a huge capital on the LGBT, which largely, greatly affects the youth of this country. Mr. Speaker, we are urging him, as now the Minister Designate for Youth Development, he should look at those areas and improve them. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I would also support and commend and congratulate them. Thank you
very, very much, Honourable Member for Bosome-Frehon. Honourable members, the motion has been moved and it has been seconded. It is now the property of the House for consideration.